Have you ever applied for an internal role and thought, let me just keep this quiet? Over time, quite a few people have come to me after doing exactly that. Some didn't get the job, some actually did. But afterwards, many of them felt a bit uncomfortable, not always sure why, just feeling that something was slightly off. In this video, I want to share what tends to happen in these situations, why it can feel uncomfortable, and a few simple ways people often handle it more smoothly. I will walk through this in 3 points. Many people approach internal applications like this. Let me just apply quietly. If it doesn't work, I will just stay where I am. And often, it's not about hiding. It's because they don't want to be judged. They feel unsure, or sometimes they don't feel comfortable with their manager, and that's a very real situation. Number 1, what actually happens? What tends to happen is this. Even if someone tries to keep it quiet, internal applications often don't stay private, especially for cross-team or cross-function roles. And at some point, HR may involve the current manager. There may be discussions about backfill or alignment between teams. So the situation becomes visible anyway. And when that visibility comes from somewhere else, that's usually where the shift begins. Point 2, why it feels uncomfortable. The discomfort is not really about applying. It's often about what didn't happen around it. For example, no early conversation, no shared understanding, no context given. And in the UK especially, people may not say anything directly, but you might notice a slight change in tone, conversations feeling a bit different, or a sense of distance. There's also another layer. Sometimes people avoid the conversation because they are not comfortable with their manager, or they are not sure how it will be received. That's very real. In some cases, it's not even about the role, it's about the relationship. And I know that can be very difficult. If that's something you are experiencing, I've shared a couple of separate videos where I talk more about this from a different angle. One on why people stay in jobs that feel toxic for so long, and another on why reaching out first doesn't always work. You might find these helpful if this part feels familiar. But even in that situation, you are still in the same environment. You still need to work together. So what seems to help in these situations? Point 3, what people often do differently. What I've noticed is this. The people who navigate this more smoothly don't necessarily do something complicated. They just include 2 small conversations. Before applying, not a big discussion, just a simple heads up. I've been thinking about my development, and I might explore this role. I just wanted to keep you in the loop, even when the relationship is not perfect. This can reduce surprise, misunderstanding, and tension later. And sometimes people are actually surprised by this part. Having an open conversation can also bring useful insight. For example, the manager might share a bigger picture of the team or organization, highlight things about the role that are not obvious, or suggest areas to strengthen before applying. So the conversation is not just about communication. It can also help people prepare better, position themselves more clearly, and sometimes even decide whether the move is right for them. After the outcome, especially if unsuccessful, this is the part many people avoid, but it often matters the most. If they didn't get the role, some people find that a simple acknowledgement helps reset things. I wanted to let you know the status of the role I applied for. I didn't get it, but I still focus on my current role, and I do really value your feedback if you have. It might make them feel that you value their point of view as well. And sometimes even just ending, thank you for your support through the process, if they are involved in the journey, can make the conversation feel more natural. What this does is quite powerful. It reassures that they are still committed to their current manager and the team, still professional, and still engaged. And even if people go to the role, there is still a relationship to manage, because they may still work together during transition or collaborate again in the future. So acknowledging that also helps. Something simply like, I wanted to speak to you directly. I've been offered the role and I really appreciate your support during my time working with you. I will make sure the transition works well for the team. So this is not really about whether you should apply internally or not. It's about understanding that in a shared environment, things don't just move through systems. They move through people. If you are ever in this situation, maybe just pause and think. What small conversation could make this smoother? And I'm curious, would you tell your manager first, or would you prefer to keep it private?